target, and thereafter it's like something very close to shooting and scooting. It doesn't behave that way. Because by virtue of the fact of the mobility and maneuverability, it changes its position very fast. So therefore, it will be appropriate to engage these kind of threats and targets with a weapon system as that of Javelin.
Understood. Major General Sudhakar ji, pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much for making time for us here on Defense Plus.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's a wrap on Defense Pulse for today. We're going to slip into a very short break. This is WION. I'm Shivan Channa. Stay with us, please.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Kohler Spa at home.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances. Power never stands still. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Kohler Spa at home.
The architecture of war is changing. Geography is no longer a shield. The battlefield now stretches from sea to space. Meet the veterans, industry stalwarts, and innovators.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Kohler Spa at home.
Hello and welcome to the West Asia Post. I am Ghadi Francis coming to you from Beirut, Lebanon for a new episode of WION's weekly show where we bring you all things new from the world's most volatile region. This week a lot is lining up in West Asia, from Ankara and Israel rivalry to the UAE and Iran economic trouble. Also on the show, Gaza and South Lebanon. Take a look. A new fault line is emerging in West Asia. From the skies of Turkey to the battlefield in Syria, Ankara and Israel are watching each other closely as rivalries between Netanyahu and Erdogan grow deeper. Now Turkey has a new weapon that could alter the balance: hypersonic missiles. The next report tells you more.
For years, Israel's biggest strategic threats came from Iran and armed groups around its borders. Now, another military power is entering the equation: Turkey. Ankara is developing a new generation of long-range missiles, and one of them is raising eyebrows in Israel. The Tayfun Block 4, Turkish reports say the missile can travel around 1,500 kilometers and reach speeds above Mach 5.5. At that range, the entire territory of Israel could theoretically fall within its reach. It weighs approximately 7.2 tons. The missile uses solid composite fuel and is engineered for quick deployment via high-mobility tactical truck launchers, but the missile itself is only half the story. The real shift is happening on the ground. Look north from Israel and you reach Syria. Go further north and you reach Turkey. That corridor is rapidly becoming the center of a new strategic contest. Israel has expanded its military presence in southern Syria. Turkey already has a major military footprint in northern Syria and is deepening cooperation with Damascus. Then came the explosion that changed the equation. On the 18th of August, Israeli aircraft struck the Abu al-Duhur air base in northern Syria, roughly 45 miles from the Turkish border. Israel said it was acting to prevent a Turkish military buildup. Ankara rejected the accusation. Turkish officials said there was no Turkish military presence at the base and accused Israel of using the claim to justify strikes inside Syria. The danger is obvious. A Turkish military deployment in Syria could bring Ankara's forces much closer to Israel. Israeli aircraft operating over Syria could then come into increasing proximity with Turkish forces. One mistake could trigger a confrontation that neither side planned. And this is happening while the political temperature is rising. Turkey has moved against Netanyahu diplomatically, seeking an Interpol red notice linked to its prosecution over the Gaza flotilla case. Netanyahu has responded by portraying Erdogan and Turkey as a growing threat. The timing matters.
We will not tolerate Turkish military presence establishing itself as it moves south. It threatens us. We conveyed that clearly. Now we saw that Turkey intends to establish presence in the airport southern to its lines and close to Aleppo. So we conveyed a message. How would I define the message for you?
Israel's elections are approaching. Some American officials have questioned whether the Syria confrontation is also being shaped by Israeli domestic politics. One American envoy even suggested the Syria strike could have risked provoking a wider conflict with Turkey. But there's another twist. The United States is closely tied to both countries. When it comes to military power, Turkey versus Israel is a classic contrast between conventional scale and technological warfare. Turkey ranks 9th globally in the 2026 Global Firepower Index, with major strengths in manpower, armor, artillery, drones, naval power and strategic depth. Israel ranks 15th, but relies on advanced air power, F-35 stealth fighters, layered missile defense, elite intelligence, electronic warfare and nuclear deterrence. Turkey is a NATO member. Israel is a major US security partner. So this is not simply an Israel-Turkey rivalry. It is a collision unfolding inside a wider Western security network. And that is why the Tayfun matters, not because war is inevitable. but because Ankara is acquiring the ability to reach much farther, while Syria is becoming the place where Turkish and Israeli military interests could collide. The missile is new, the strategic rivalry is even bigger, and West Asia is watching where the next red line will be drawn.
Now, there is a pause in the war between America and Iran. Diplomatic channels and corridors are working over time. But in the meanwhile, both are working on their stockpiles of weapons. So the next report asks, how long will this uneasy calm prevail in West Asia? We tell you more.
Iran's Shahid drones were built to be cheap. Cheap enough to be launched in large numbers and force adversaries to spend expensive interceptors to shoot them down. But now the Shahid is getting faster. In a July attack on Kiev, Russia used a newer version powered by a turbojet engine. It can fly at around 300 miles per hour, almost 3 times as fast as older versions. Ukrainian officials say these drones can outrun some interceptor drones, making them harder and more expensive to stop. And the bigger story is what is powering this evolution. Iran may have developed the Shahid, but it has never built every component in isolation. Its supply chain stretches across the world, with China reportedly emerging as a critical source of engines, electronics, and other components. Ukrainian officials say newer Shahids are also using more Chinese-made navigation and communication systems. So a weapon born out of Iran's isolation is now being transformed by global supply chains. And that brings US to Donald Trump's so-called economic D-Day against Iran. The strategy is to crush Tehran through economic pressure, but there's a problem. Economic warfare takes time, and Iran is already working to rebuild parts of its missile program and possibly its nuclear program. China and Russia also continue to provide Iran with economic support. China, in particular, is a key buyer of Iranian oil, and that means Trump's pressure campaign is also becoming a test of how far Washington is willing to go against Beijing. And there is another cost. Iran's pressure on the Strait of Hormuz has already hit shipping and pushed up energy prices. That creates a political problem for Trump, because Iran may be able to absorb economic pain longer than American voters will tolerate higher prices. So the question is not whether Trump's strategy is hurting Iran, it is. The question is whether Washington can sustain that pressure long enough to actually force Tehran to back down. Because the Shahid shows what Iran has become very good at, adapting, finding cheap components, and turning them into weapons that can keep evolving, even under pressure.
Not the United States, but the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, could be delivering one of the sharpest economic blows to Iran. After being accused of firing a ballistic missile at the maritime passages near the UAE, now Abu Dhabi has considered halting all economic operations, financial transactions, and relationships with Iran. Now, this could be a major blow to where Iran is most vulnerable, its economy. Take a look.
The UAE has just turned economic pressure on Iran into a new front in the conflict. On August 18, 2026, Abu Dhabi says it detected 2 ballistic missiles launched from Iran towards the country. The UAE later said the missiles were targeting marine navigation. Iran, however, denied responsibility. But hours later, the UAE made its move. Abu Dhabi announced that all trade, commercial exchanges and financial transactions with Iran would be halted until further notice. And this could be far more significant than it sounds, because the UAE is not just another Gulf state for Iran. It is one of Iran's most important commercial and financial lifelines. For years, Dubai has served as a major hub for Iranian imports, businesses, financial flows and commercial networks. Situated across the Strait of Hormuz, UAE is a crucial trade partner for Iran. So, a UAE trade embargo could hit Iran's economy at a time when Tehran is already facing extreme pressure from US sanctions and disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. And this comes as tensions between Iran and the UAE have been rising. UAE says Emirati vessels have been targeted in the Strait of Hormuz in recent days, including vessels linked to Abu Dhabi's national oil company. The UAE has vowed to defend freedom of navigation in the strait. That means the economic war and the battle for control of the region's shipping lanes are now colliding. For Iran, the timing could hardly be worse. Washington is already trying to increase economic pressure on Tehran, but the UAE's decision could close off another critical channel, one that Iran has used for decades to keep trade moving despite Western sanctions. Iran has already been cut off from much of the global financial system. Its oil exports and shipping are under pressure. And its economy is grappling with inflation and rising poverty. Now, one of its most important regional trade partners is pulling back. The big question is how long this break can last. Geography makes a complete economic divorce difficult.
در هر شرایطی
Under any circumstances, sanctions do inflict blows. The rise in the exchange rate affects life and livelihood. But ultimately, we are Iranians, and Iranians know how to bypass sanctions well.
دور زدن تحریم رو خوب بلدن. اونجوری که ما فشار رومون هست.
In the way that we are under pressure, we are 100% distressed. The youth have many grievances against the officials who, really, in my opinion, they are traitors. Why? Because they truly do not attend to the people's suffering. To me, being a responsible official means that the person should not rest.
The UAE has the geography, the financial hub, and the commercial networks that could make economic pressure on Iran even more painful.
In South Lebanon, war is still going on. Every day there are strikes, there are bombings, there are airstrikes. And Israel claims it is targeting Hezbollah military infrastructure. But there's a deeper war over there, not only between Israel and Hezbollah, but also between Hezbollah and the Lebanese state, as the Lebanese state is now trying to assert control over these areas where Hezbollah has built a powerful military force and a social network. Now, as long as Israel is striking Lebanon, it is weakening the Lebanese state's procedure. We tell you more in this detailed report.
The IDF says it is accelerating operations to destroy Hezbollah's infrastructure in southern Lebanon. Its northern command says Hezbollah, with Iranian guidance, spent more than 2 decades turning key villages into military strongholds. Kafar Killa, Al-Khiyam, Bint Jubel, Taibe. Strategic villages and ridgelines that could restrict Israeli ground movement while allowing Hezbollah to reach the Israeli border quickly. Israel says its troops have found shelters, weapons depots, command centers, observation posts and launch sites. And it is now opening routes to move troops, supplies and armored vehicles faster through the area. The aim is to stop Hezbollah from simply rebuilding what is destroyed. But there is another battle underway. for the loyalty of southern Lebanon. Hezbollah has spent decades building not just a military network but a social safety net. For many in Lebanon, that makes Hezbollah more than an armed group. It makes it a provider. And that is the challenge for Beirut. The Lebanese state is trying to reassert control over the south, but it is competing with an organization that already has deep roots in the community. The government has created 3 pilot zones where the Lebanese army is taking charge of rebuilding roads and infrastructure. The message is clear. The state should provide. The state should protect. The state should replace Hezbollah. But there is a major obstacle. Israel continues to strike Lebanese territory, and every such attack undermines Beirut's claim that it can provide security. That leaves the Lebanese state caught in the middle. Hezbollah has the social network, Israel has the military initiative, and Beirut is trying to build authority between the two. This is where the strategic dilemma deepens. If Israel gives up the initiative before Hezbollah's military infrastructure is dismantled, the group could rebuild, but continued Israeli military action can further undermine the Lebanese state, the very state expected to take control from Hezbollah. So the more Israel acts, the harder it can become for Beirut to build credibility, and the more Israel holds back, the more space Hezbollah may have to recover. That is the core of the southern Lebanon dilemma. A battle not just over territory, but over who provides security, who provides services, and who represents the people.
In Gaza, a simple act of childhood, play. A kite made of scraps of wood, something that a child likes to play with, is now another fear. Israel is actually warning that kites might drive military action. Take a look.
For children in Gaza, the war has already taken away the things that make childhood feel normal. Homes have been destroyed. Neighborhoods have been shattered. Playgrounds, toys, and safe spaces have become scarce. And in the middle of all that destruction, children found a simple way to play. They collected sticks from the rubble, used scraps of paper, plastic, and string, and turned whatever they could find into kites. For a few moments, they could look up at the sky and feel something other than fear. But now, even that small escape is under threat. A series of kites have recently crossed the border into southern Israel. Israel says such activity cannot be allowed, citing security concerns and the history of incendiary kites and balloons being used to start fires in Israeli farmland.
We decided to ban flying kites, paper kites, out of concern for the lives of the children. These are our children, our kids, and we cannot risk their lives. The occupation has decided to ban the flying of kites, so we in the administration, after extensive discussions, decided to stop this activity because the occupation will target the children.
They have been deprived of education, which is the most essential pillar for children and for human beings. Should they even be deprived of this simple toy? The simplest toy that we can provide for them at the lowest cost, the Israeli enemy has banned them from. And of course, out of concern for the well-being of our children, we have prevented our children and our kids in the camps from making them.
Hamas has denied responsibility for the recent kites. According to reports, no explosives have been found on them, though at least one carried a political message. The issue has now become part of the fragile ceasefire, with the US-led board overseeing the truce, calling for all military activity in Gaza to stop, including the flying of kites. And that has left Gaza's children caught in the middle. For them, a kite is not a weapon. It is a toy they can build themselves. It is a way to spend time with friends. And perhaps most importantly, it is a rare moment when they can feel like children again. Israel continues to bombard Gaza despite a ceasefire. Schools have been destroyed. Gazans are surviving in makeshift camps where there is no clean water, nor sanitation facility, and very little food. A total of 1,288 Palestinians have been killed since the October 2025 ceasefire agreement, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry.
The situation that we are in is very tragic. They claim there is a ceasefire. It doesn't have a name. It only exists on paper, the ceasefire. But in reality, there is no ceasefire. Every day there is killing, terrorizing, funerals, and martyrs. Every day in Gaza.
That is a cruel irony of war. When homes and playgrounds disappear, children create their own world from scraps. And now, even that little world is shrinking.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the West Asia Post. I will see you next week with a brand new lineup, always bringing you the most recent updates, news, and ground reports from West Asia. I'm your host, Radi Francis, signing off from Beirut, Lebanon. For more global news, keep on watching WION World is One.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances. Power never stands still. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
The architecture of war is changing. Geography is no longer a shield. The battlefield now stretches from sea to space. Meet the veterans, industry stalwarts, and innovators.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
Hello and a very warm welcome. This is your window to all political events and news that shape the day on WION World is One. Welcome to Race to Power. I'm Diksha Bisla.
And I'm Eric Njoka. Coming up on the show, corporate America is cutting big checks to Trump. Tech firms are quoting Democrats and hiring advisors to prepare for potential investigations if Republicans lose control of the House.
We'll be discussing all of that, but we'll also shift our focus to OPEC's decades-long hold over global oil markets, which is fraying again as founder member Venezuela becomes the second nation in a matter of just months to consider an exit. And this could spur doubts over the group's ability to hold together and influence oil prices.
Well, countdown has begun for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Summit 2026, which will be held in Bishkek. From August 31st to September 1st this year, the year 2026 marks the 25th anniversary of the SCO's establishment, and the summit's central theme is sustainable peace, development, and prosperity.
All that and more coming up shortly. Be on standby for today's verdict. Let's first begin with the Global Pulse check.
All right, the upcoming midterm elections in the United States are turning out to be a high-stakes race, not only for diplomatic ramifications, but also for domestic issues and influence.
Right, and according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, major U.S. firms are already preparing for a possible turnaround in congressional control this November. While companies which have close ties with the U.S. president in particular, they are reportedly taking measures to gain favor with the opposing camp, the Democrats. And the steps come amid a possible chance that the blue camp may flip the House of Representatives and claim majority, which the Republicans currently control.
Several companies which donated vast sums of money to Trump's projects are now preparing for possible congressional and even potential criminal investigations. So how are these companies trying to wade through this uncertain political landscape? Well, the report says that major corporate organizations are trying to balance out the money given to the red camp by now donating millions to Democrat lawmakers ahead of the midterms. Executives and board members from some large public companies across sectors are reportedly discussing how to stay out of Democratic crosshairs and how to stay as neutral as possible to evade formal subpoenas and investigations if the House flips in the next 3 months.
While the change in strategy also comes amid statements from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who said that the Democrat Party is focused on affordability as well as holding companies accountable. Jeffries is likely to become the House Speaker in the scenario that the Democrats do cross the simple majority mark.
This is what the existing makeup of the Congressional House looks like. Out of a total of 435 seats, Republicans currently have 219, while Democrats represent 212 of the seats. The halfway mark is at 218, and this is where it gets interesting. There are currently 4 vacant seats in the House, and these seats are only filled by a special election or the next approaching election cycle. The 4 vacancies are from the following parts of America: 14th District of California, 23rd District of Texas, 20th District of Florida, and 13th District of Georgia.
The midterms are turning out to be a high-stakes battle for all stakeholders, but more so for the incumbent president and his Republican Party. Especially if popularity polls are anything to go by, the past few polls have shown a steady decline in Trump's popularity overall. But the biggest trigger has been voters' unhappiness with the dragged Iran war and Trump's handling of the economy. It appears that companies who contributed in millions to the president's legacy projects, they are also looking at the numbers and how they stack up in popularity polls. And hence the decision to regroup and strategize on a potential change in power structure at the Capitol Hill. Which leads us to the question, will their early outreach to the Democrats help evade scrutiny?
Well, Diksha, let's ask that question to our guest, Garland Nixon. He's a political